Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Tony King and I'm a photographer. In this video, I want to talk about my experience as a unit stills BTS photographer on my first ever shoot like that. And the context behind it is I have a film production degree and nowadays I work as a video editor, but more aspirationally, I love photography and that's kind of what I focus on, at least here on the YouTube channel. Unprofessionally, that's like what I do outside of video editing and work. Given that my film background, I really like making movies and stuff like that. So trying to combine photography and filmmaking turned out into looking for unit stills BTS photography gigs, and I was able to find only one so far, and I wanted to talk about my experience on this set, look over some of the images I got. Hey, you know what, if you're looking at this and need a BTS photographer anywhere in the state of Georgia, hit me up. If you like what I'm about to show, if you have pointers, let me know about that too. Without further ado, I have 9 images selected. These are the ones on my current website, tonyeking.myportfolio.com. Hopefully these go to show that I can capture the behind the scenes of a movie. The first image here is of this man with a gun kind of breaking into a building. The background light, it almost looks like it's banding, but I promise you it's not. It's just like the window light casting on the wall. I wish we kind of had a better background, but we don't. The people who hired me for this, they really wanted a dramatic black and white look. Not only, but that's like, you know, primarily what they wanted. And funny story behind this shot of this guy coming in with this gun is we were actually shooting across the street in this kind of like shared office space from a police station. And I guess a police officer pulls up and he's like, whoa, I've seen this guy like go in this building with what looks like a assault rifle. Like, I got kind of concerned, and we're like, oh, haha, we're making a movie. And he was just like, well, make sure like we know about that before doing it next time. But it was really funny that you know, he's playing a cop in this shot, like an FBI agent type thing, and that's that. I think the focus could be slightly nicer and like on his face, but it's more so on his hand / the gun, but he's still definitely in focus enough. I like the darkness and the dramaticism of this image, but his face is still clearly visible. You know, if the movie was shot with this color grade and style, I think it would still be successful. That is kind of what I was going for, a cinematic feeling. I like how I froze this moment in time. Next up is pretty much directly preceding that is the like investigator coming through, and this is very like a noir kind of shot, dark and dramatic in the way the light is hitting his face, but also the light from the background, again, like with the window. It was actually the door, kind of had different windows and broken off areas that are creating these lines in the back, which I think are super nice. And then the shadow hitting just like the top of his face, creating a shadow over his eyes. His eyes are dark. He's kind of an imposing dark figure, kind of scary in a suit and with these papers. Like, I mean, he could be in the mafia, you know, who knows what this guy's up to, but you don't want to be on the wrong end of it. I think this image could slightly be sharper, but I love the lighting and I love the framing. We're kind of low, so he's more imposing and powerful. Strong image. Next up, we just have like an over the shoulder of a woman in this scene, whatever they're talking about at this conference table. And I was trying to get good lighting on her face and eye light in her eyes, and kind of subtle action with moving the paper. Maybe I could have done a little bit better, but I like the lighting on her face, especially here, and capturing them like kind of the in-between moments between lines and takes. From this same scene, admittedly, like the only times they had me work were kind of in this shared space building, so all the locations are going to be rather similar. Here, I think she's in really great focus, the lady on the right. I like how soft the lady on the left is, and you can see she's talking, but we're really looking at the expression of the lady on the right. I really wish there was a way to not have the light in her glasses. That's on me, something I don't know what exactly I could have done about that, but it doesn't change that her eyes look really nice. There's the eye light in her eyes. The lighting on her face is very nice. She definitely sticks out from the background, which again is kind of bare, but it is what it is. And yeah, I think this is a good image of this lady. Next is some actual like action behind the scenes of the guys shooting the movie. We have this fella here on the camera, kind of working on setting up this shot on his tripod, and you know, it was kind of hard in this hallway to get good lighting because it was kind of dimmed and the lights were off because of, you know, shooting the movie. So the only thing I really would change from this image is not having the exit sign in the frame, but you know, I can't really take that off. I have to live with it, but in the end, it does kind of match the red of his do-rag. And, you know, you can see some action. Maybe I would like a little bit more light, but they wanted this kind of dark cinematic vibe. It was also a challenge to get the white balance good in these images, and I think I did all right here. So yeah, this is kind of a cool dramatic shot. Still in that same hallway, working on the same shot, I got this image of, you know, the DP, the director is in the back, and the AD is here on the right, and he's kind of mostly who I was communicating with going into here, so I was trying to get some cool shots of him in the process as well. It's kind of one of those hurry up and wait moments where we're trying to get everything set up, waiting on the actors to get ready, and I really wanted to use my style of getting things in the foreground, and I'm using a table at the very bottom. Maybe I could have done that a little bit more successfully or more prominently, but I like how the light is on his face and you can see his eyes, the profile of his face, even though he's like directly in front of a dark door that, you know, could just wash him out. It's a dramatic feeling, like what they asked for. So I think in these ways, this image is successful and kind of cool and moody. Still the same guy in a moment where he's like thinking of an idea, listening. I really like the lighting on his face here too. I like the focus, how it is on his eye. And these are the kind of moments that I wanted to get, you know, my first time doing BTS, kind of personal, like interesting, dramatic, cinematic, however you want to call them, however I want to call them, I suppose. I think this was a good example of me trying to capture a person doing something, and, you know, it happens to be on a film set. I'm not fully versed on all sorts of unit stills, but I have seen other stills like this. This wasn't a very big production, so I didn't have the opportunity to like take a big shot of like big green screen and all these crazy rigs. So this is what I had to work with, and this is trying to tell the story of the people who are making this movie happen. That's that. Next is the lead character over here. She's a little blown out, I will admit, which usually is kind of what I go for, but sometimes I think when I'm shooting for somebody on a, you know, and getting paid to do it, maybe I need to like make sure I'm doing things a little bit more cleanly, but I still like this image quite a bit. It's dramatic, you know, dark to camera. She's like in the moment, she's acting right now as we're looking at her. There's a lady in the foreground, but she's looking at another one, so we know like this room has people in it and she's speaking to a crowded room. Maybe she could be slightly sharper, but the colors are nice because her green dress sticks out from the blue background and she's very prominent. In this regard, you know, catching the shot of a character, I think this is a good shot of this character. And lastly is this image of the US president. It's kind of a nice, super nice chiaroscuro type image with the very bright background, but he kind of falls off into darkness and the blinds creating the nice lines on his jacket, but you can still see, you know, the little US flag pip on his lapel and the soft light on his face cutting across his right eye closer to the camera is barely visible, but still visible. They don't want to darken that way out too much. It's the black and white dramaticism that they want. Very well lit, wonderful emotion on his face, kind of serious moment in the story. And, you know, I think this is one of the best portraits I've taken, period. If an image speaks for how I want to capture these sort of things, this is probably it. This is probably the best one. And I'm very, very happy with this image. This is one that was like, I see him standing there and that light on him is so good. You know, it's all natural light. So I was like, I gotta get this. I gotta get this. And I did. Be fast and reactive in these moments. This was pretty much my first time doing something like this, kind of shooting for somebody, people that I don't know, like in a moving environment with people. It was a very tight space too. For me, a nervous, kind of introverted photographer, things that I learned that really helped me on this. Shooting with, instead of just looking at the view screen, shooting with the camera up to my eye, which is what I do like on my EPL3 because the view screen sucks. But sometimes when I'm shooting on a GH5 or a camera like that that has a good view screen, I just end up kind of looking at the view screen. I don't like shooting from all the way up here usually. I usually like to shoot kind of from slightly lower, kind of my neck or chest level. I just think it's a nicer height. For this, I don't like it when people know I'm taking their photo, things like that, but obviously they knew I was taking their photo. They're here to be filmed, so they don't really care, which also helped. But to me, it helped to shoot through the viewfinder, so I'm really just looking through one eye, and I'm not aware of the people to my left or my right being like, what is he doing? Like he's taking their picture. Oh my gosh, am I next? Like whatever, like, or just like looking at me in action and maybe judging me. So that was good advice for me. Other thing, like having gone to film school, made a lot of short films. They're stressful environments a lot of the time, but this was for me, like I could tell it was a stressful environment for them, but I didn't really have to worry about it. I'm just here to capture the behind the scenes. I'm not here to like, you know, it's not my fault if the shot if the take is bad or, or if something's out of focus on the camera. Like, that's not up to me. So I really actually enjoyed that side of things as well. I love filmmaking. I love photography. So to be able to combine these two things as a unit stills photographer is something I definitely want to look to do even more. Let me know what you thought of the images I captured here. Do they even feel like unit stills to you guys? Or are they just kind of portraits that I just happen to take on film set? Let me know how I did, and hopefully a couple of the little background stories and a little of the tips and tricks that I talked about are beneficial. And thanks for watching. I've been Tony King. Subscribe to my channel for more content where I analyze my photography, but also talk about photography ideas and different things about photography, as well as a little bit of gear reviews here and there, all at the same time. It's all photography. So if you like photography, you'll find a good home here. So subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. I've been Tony King.